श्रीगणेशाय नमः। श्रीसरस्वत्यै नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। अन्तर्यश्च बहिर्विधूततिमिरं ज्योतिर्मयं शाश्वतं स्थानं प्राप्य विराजते विनमताम् अज्ञानमुन्मूलयन् पश्यन् विश्वमपीदमुल्लसति यो विश्वस्य पारे परः तस्मै श्रीरमणाय लोकगुरवे शोकस्य हन्त्रे नमः। Let us do the Mangalacharana of the text. सत्प्रत्ययाः किन्नु विहाय सन्तं हृद्येष चिन्तारहितो हृदाख्यः कथं स्मरामस्तममेयमेकं तस्य स्मृतिस्तत्र दृढैव निष्ठा मृत्युञ्जयं मृत्युभयाश्रितानाम् अहं मतिर्मृत्युमुपैति पूर्वम् अथ स्वभावादमृतेषु तेषु कथं पुनर्मृत्युधियोऽवकाशः। Raman Maharshi had started explaining the nature of ego and how this ego functions and works, in which Raman Maharshi explained that this ego, he takes up many different forms, he will take many different shapes, he will identify with different things and hide itself. It will not allow you to know whether you are identified with the ego, whether you are identified with your own true nature, Swarupa, etc. With this ego, the entire creation is born. With this ego, the entire creation undergoes dissolution. Because of this ego, Ahankara, alone, the creation is. So, in conclusion, this Ahankara alone is the root of all troubles. How do you say so? What is this Ahankara? Simply understand, it is not this body, because this gross body is jada, inert. It does not know anything, it is not sentient. Furthermore, the Sat, the existence principle, is sentient, but it does not have any form, neither does it have any connection with the gross body. But in between them two, where mutual superimposition has taken place and identification has taken place on account of ignorance, the superimposition has taken place on account of ignorance, and there lies this ahankara, ego, which takes up the form of this body. On further inquiry, if you see, this ahankara, yes, it does take forms of all the things which it identifies with. That's what we are going to discuss today, the verse we had left out. But interestingly, if you observe, this ahankara is limited to tip of my fingernails, tip of my toes, and tip of my hair. Even a millimeter away from it, there is no ego at all. Of course, sometimes we do have that ego, We have that ahankara, but that is for a very limited period of time. If you really want to know how it is, simply look at it. Nails and our hair. As long as they are attached to this gross body, they are good, they are fine, they are mine. But once they are cut, they are not mine, they should be thrown in garbage dustbin. Before we begin with our today's inquiry, let us chant verse 25 to 27. न वक्ति देहोऽहमिति प्रसुप्तौ न कोऽपि नाभूवमिति प्रवक्ति यत्रोदिते सर्वमुदेति तस्य धियाहमशोधयजन्मदेशम् देहो न जानाति सतो न जन्म देहप्रमाणोऽन्य उदेति मध्ये अहङ्कृतिग्रन्थिविबन्धसूक्ष्म शरीरचेतो भवजीवनामा रूपोद्भवो रूपततिप्रतिष्ठो रूपाशनो धूतगृहीतरूपः स्वयं विरूपस्वविचारकाले धावत्यहङ्कारपिशाच एषः एषः पिशाच अहङ्कारः अहङ्कारपिशाचः. This ahankara, which is nothing but a ghost which has possessed this body, which has taken over me, will start running away once I inquire into its true nature. Let us see. We had seen this explanation of this verse in general, but let us understand what is being told here. It is said this ego is born amidst form, rupodbhavaha. It is born amidst form and is based on different forms. It is there because of different forms. Let's see, let's inquire. Imagine an empty room. Imagine an empty room. There is nothing at all. Imagine an empty room where there is nothing at all. No single object is there. Now, after you have thought about that empty room, imagine total emptiness outside of that room. The room is completely empty, and outside of that room there is nothing else. No single object is there. Imagine complete void, pitch black darkness. You cannot see anything. There is nothing to see. So inside room there is total emptiness, and there is emptiness outside of that room. Now slowly, one by one, remove walls of that room. Slowly, one by one, remove walls of that room. Now, once you have removed all the walls, this thinking will take time. It will take time to think, inquire, master. But once you have inquired in this way, once you have thought this way very well, you will know who is this who is experiencing this void or identifying with something. In that particular state, you will understand that there is nothing to identify with, and you start inquiring who is this person, who is this who is experiencing this void or emptiness. The point here is, because throughout our experiences, through these five senses, different forms, into bracket or put into quotation mark, different thoughts, different object thoughts, knowledge of different objects, vishayas, takes place. That may be sound, touch, smell, a form, a color, a smell, anything. And whenever I gain that particular knowledge, this ahankara is already there to illumine, to identify with, and to express itself. I like this smell, I did not like this smell. It's prickly, it's so smooth and soft, it's so beautiful. There is too much loud noise outside. These are the expressions which we are going through continuously 24 by 7, moment by moment. Is it not? When these forms, when these expressions, when these experiences are not there, our ahankara is as good as absent, which is evident in deep sleep. In deep sleep, ahankara is not there. So, because ahankara is not there, there is no identification with anything, and because there is no identification with anything, ahankara is not there, and it is deep sleep. We can think it in both ways. When our mind is disturbed, when we are continuously thinking of something, we are unable to fall asleep. There is one exercise which is told. I personally have not practiced it, I personally have not used it, but it is said that this exercise is told to soldiers, or mainly soldiers, that they use this method for falling asleep quickly. We may have heard of counting back 100 to 1 backwards, etc. But in this method, and it is very simple, what is taught is, first reduce your speed of breathing. The longer breaths you take, the calmer your mind gets. Because if your mind is continuously thinking, it is perturbed, then your breathing is fast. So by controlling breathing, you pacify, calm your mind. And while doing that, while quietening your mind, while taking long deep breaths, start relaxing all your muscles. Don't hold them, don't try to control them, let them loose. And while doing so, try to stop thinking. And in this way, you are able to go to sleep quickly and faster. The conclusion being, the point here being, as long as there are forms, ahankara, ego will keep identifying with them, and it will show its existence. Therefore, it is said, Rupodbhavaha Rupatato Pratishtha. Amidst form it is born. It is born with forms, and because of forms it stays. As long as experience of external world is there, ahankara is there. When the experience of the external world goes away, the ahankara also goes away. This ahankara again, Rupashanaha Dhutagruhita Rupaha. He is eater of forms, Rupa Ashana. Ashana, eater or experiencer of forms, and Dhuta Gruhita Rupa, who has taken up and given up different forms. This Ahankara is continuously experiencing different forms. Ashana, Ashana, even though literally translates to eating, here it is experiencing. Imagine how it is experiencing. You are simply sitting and suddenly you hear the bell ring. Which bell? Not the doorbell. The bell which indicates that an ice cream vendor is walking down the road. Nowadays, such ice cream vendors are rare, scarce, you don't see them. But imagine. Or you enter a shop, and as soon as you enter, towards your left, towards your right, or in front, there is that large deep freezer in which ice creams have been stored. Now, just by looking at it, just by momentary experience of that stored items, you have desire to experience them. This is what Ahankara is doing. This is what our ego does. It prompts us to act on our impulses, our vasana, our desires. That's how it is continuously experiencing. Eater of forms, it is continuously undergoing experiences. If this ahankara is not active, it is not functioning, it has been surrendered, this thing will not happen. If you don't believe, let us take the parallel examples. You are conducting a puja, you are doing worship. And during that, now Naivedya, a food is being offered to deity, Ishvara. And when that food is being offered, after that food has been very well served in that plate or banana leaf, with each food item carefully placed in its particular place, it has been decorated, it has been very well, beautifully placed. The colors are looking nice. The salad is colorful. Everything is looking nice. There are sweets, there are puri, everything is there. And when that food is being offered, because you are in tune, because all your focus is in worship of Ishvara, worship of that deity, Devata, never for a single moment Ahankara had chance to identify with that beautifully placed food and have a desire to experience that. Why? Because your mind, your ahankara is identified with deity Ishvara. Such mind is no mind. This is how ahankara exists. Rupashanaha. It is continuously experiencing all vishayas. And Dhuta Gruhita Rupaha, he takes up and gives up many forms. Best example is, look at ourselves. From childhood to old age, or whatever the age that you are, your body has undergone so many different changes, undergone so many diseases, so many experiences, so many changes. And throughout all these change, Ahankara has taken up that particular form and given up that old form. Our childhood form, we have given up. We do not identify with that anymore. We accept the reality. We accept the body that we have now. Whether it has become frail, whether it has become old, whether it is capable of functioning or not, we accept our fate, our prarabdha, and go on living with it. That is giving up old forms, taking up new forms. This is in relation with body. Why am I giving the example of this gross body? Because it is very much evident, but it is not limited to this experience. We take up many different forms and give up different forms. We change our electrical equipment. We change our different objects. Yes, that's how it happens. Therefore, this ahankara who takes up forms and gives up forms should be inquired into. This ahankara by itself does not have any form. It is formless. What should be done? What is the solution? Inquire into its true nature, and while inquiring, be careful. This ahankara can deceive you. What happens is, this ahankara will make you believe, this ahankara makes us believe that we have given up ahankara. So this ahankara hides itself as I am that who has given up ego. I have given up ego. I have no attachment to anything. I am free. Who is saying this? The ego itself. I have conquered the whole world. Why? Because I have conquered my mind. Who is saying this? Ahankara. Ahankara itself is saying. Ahankara can survive in many different ways. Understand? It is like a bee or bird or an insect. Uh, Let us not bee or bird. Take the example of spider. So, if there is spider in a room or spiders in a room, let's stick with spider. What it will do is it will uh, create its web in one particular corner. So you see that spider web. So what you do? You clean that web up. You clean that spider web up. Then there is another spider web. Why? Because this spider, once that his old web gets destroyed, he is creating new another one. He keeps creating new one after the other, one after the other. That's how, unless and until you have removed that spider from that room will not be free from spider webs. In the same way, unless and until we remove ahankara, ego, it will survive. It will identify with one thing. Okay, I have got attached. I drink too much tea. So what should I do? I must give up tea. Then what should I do? Okay, so tea is bad for my health. I have got attached to tea. So what should I do? I must start drinking something else. And you get attached to that thing. Ahankara will survive. The only solution is inquire into its true nature. Ask him who you are. Only when its true nature is inquired into, it will go away. Why? Because sahatena vicharam sa tamo yadvat divakaram. We had seen this about Maya. Same is with ego. It does not survive, it does not sustain the inquiry. Keep on inquiring while giving up the idea that you are the one who is inquirer. Now, Raman Maharshi is giving us the way towards Jaya, Vijaya, victory. भावे हमः सर्वमिदं विभाति लये हमो नैव विभाति किञ्चित् तस्मादहं रूपमिदं समस्तं तन्मार्गणं सर्वजयाय मार्गः. Raman Maharshi is saying, Ahamaha, Ahamaha of the ego, Bhave, Bhave, existence, when it is, Ahamaha Bhave, when Ahamaha, Ahankara is, Sarvam idam vibhati, all this shines. Ahamaha laye, when Ahankara, Aham, ego, laye, undergoes dissolution. Kinchit na eva vibhati, nothing shines, nothing is seen, nothing is experienced. Tasmat, therefore, idam samastam, this entirety, this entire prapancha, this entire creation, aham rupam, is of the form of ego. Tanmarganam, Tanmarganam, inquiry into that ego, the inquiry into the nature of that ego, the search for it, Sarvajayaya Margaha, is the way to all victory, to supreme victory, you can say. Raman Maharshi is explaining, when the ego ahankara is, the entire creation, everything is experienced. When the ahankara ego is not, the entire creation, everything is not experienced. Therefore, everything that is experienced is nothing but ahankara, and inquiry into it is the way to victory. Idea is simple. Rather than taking the example of snake, rope, or superimposed silver in shell or mirage water, etc., let us take the example, very much simple example. We have studied in geography. Have we not studied in geography the area, how huge the earth is? Yes, the earth is huge. Yes, there are so many people living on earth. There are so many countries. There are so many areas where people are living in harsh conditions. Yet, what is our world? How huge is our world? Forget the entire nation. Our ahankara, our ego is limited to whatever that I am experiencing currently right now. Does that mean the other world, the other parts of creation, they do not exist? No. Don't take this inquiry to that level. You don't have to go to that level to understand. The other creation, whether it exists or not, is a total different inquiry. It is part of creation of Ishvara but not creation of Jiva. Therefore, even though it is there for me, it is not there. Am I identifying, am I thinking of people who are hungry in some parts, certain parts of nation, certain parts of earth, or who are very rich, who are very poor, who are affected by earthquakes or floods, etc.? No, we do not identify with them. Why? We are not thinking of them, so they are not part of our creation. And when we identify with them, definitely they are part of our creation. In conclusion, the creation, everything that is being experienced is nothing but ahankara alone. Whatever ahankara identifies with becomes our creation. So bhave ahamaha, everything is shining. All this shines. All that I am experiencing is being experienced because of ahankara. Let me give you interesting example. So everyone is sitting in a hall for meditation. Everyone is sitting in a hall for meditation. Uh, the meditation is over. Everyone is feeling relaxed. Everyone is feeling as if they have gained Brahmajnana. Usually it is the combined effect of the AC and sleep that you got during that meditation. It is not actual Brahma Sakshatkara. But anyways, you are very much positive. You are feeling energetic. And someone comes on stage and announces that along the parking lot, along the parking line where the cars were parked, a tree has fallen down. A tree has fallen down on 2, 3 cars. They say the cars that were parked towards the east side of the hall. And now you remember, oh, I had parked the car towards the east side. Oh no. Is my car one of those? So they say the cars that were affected, 2 were maroon in color, one was blue, and another one was yellow. He said, oh no, my car was yellow. My car is yellow. Is it my car? And then they read out the number plates, and then you say, oh, thank God, it's not my car. Look how Ahankara has gone through turmoil, gone through so many different experiences. But now that you have understood, now that you have known that the car on which the tree has fallen is not your car, has your world not changed? That's how Ahankara is. That's how the experiences are. Ahankara identifies as long as this, see, the point being, let us go one step back. Throughout that announcement, throughout that part of the story, throughout that experience, has that yellow car changed, disappeared, gone away, or suddenly has reappeared? No. The yellow car is there as it is, as it was, except the tree has fallen on that car. But now, once we come to know that that car is not mine, It has ceased to be part of our world. That means ahankara is no more illumining that. Therefore, it is ahankara which is illumining the world for us, which is making us experience the world around us. Whether certain things are part of that world or not, it doesn't matter. The world, only that world is there for us, which I identify with, which ahankara is illumining, identifying with. And such creation stays as long as ahankara ego stays. When ahankara undergoes dissolution in deep sleep, this entire creation goes away. All these experiences will go away. There is very beautiful statement in Jnaneshwari, Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj Ji has written. He says, Nidritache angi sapataise urvashi. For a person who has gone into deep sleep, who is sleeping, whether Apsara, celestial maiden, is sleeping beside him or there is big huge snake beside him, it doesn't matter to him. Why? Because he is not identified with anything outside at all. That's what Raman Maharshi Ji is saying. When ego is, everything shines. When ego is not, everything does not shine. We do not identify with everything. We do not experience anything. Therefore, all this is nothing but form of ego. And the search for that ego is the way to victory. There is a very beautiful text by Adi Shankaracharya ji. It is called Mani Ratnam, Prashnottara Ratnamala, in which he poses a question and answers it. It's in form of question answer. In where he says, Jitam Jagat Kena Mano Yena. Who has conquered this entire creation, the world? Manoyena, the one who has conquered his own mind, has conquered this entire creation world. That's it. Win over your mind, win over your ahankara, ego. You will win over this creation because this creation is nothing but ahankara. But the most difficult thing to conquer in this world is this mind, ahankara. It will you even if you try to hold, if you try to catch hold of it, it's not going to come in your hands. It will run away, it will change its form, it will change its shape, it will do n number of things to convince you that it is good for you. This ahankara, this mind, they convince us they are our best friends and we need them. What should we do? They should be treated like a cow. What do you mean? So, if you are training a cow, what you do is you want that cow to not go far away. You don't want cow wandering here and there. So what you do is you tie a rope to its neck and you let it loose. If you keep it too short, the cow will start jumping, the cow will try to go around, run away. So make that rope a 10 feet or 20 feet long and tie another end to a firm pole. So cow can graze in that area, in that circle, which is of 10 to 20 feet radius, whatever is the length of that rope. After a few days, what you do is reduce the length of that rope. After a few more days, again reduce length of that rope. This is how mind should be controlled. If you try to cut that mind off, cut ahankara, ego off from everything, it will just run away or it will eat you from inside. There is another example which is given. A small child. He was running around, he was creating trouble for mother. So mother said, do one thing. Have you not seen Bappa, Devata, deity, Ishvara in that temple inside our worshipping room, inside our room? How is he sitting? He is sitting quiet. What is he holding in his hand? He has laddu or modak in his hand, sweet. So if you sit like him for half an hour or 1 hour, I will give sweets to you. So half an hour was agreed upon. And this child, he sat on a mat. He was sitting there quietly. After half an hour was over, the mother came, gave sweets to that child. The child went away. His grandfather, he was sitting beside over there and he was smiling. So child's mother asked, what happened? Why are you smiling? Did I make a mistake somewhere? Grandfather said, no, you tried your best, but just look at the mat on which that child was sitting. And when she looked at that mat, there was a hole in that mat. What this child had done was, because he was so energetic, he was so active, he could not stay in one place, but because he had to sit in one place, with his hand he had removed straws from that straw mat, and because those straws were removed, because he was continuously playing with his hand, there was a hole in that mat. That's how ahankara is. It will start eating from inside. It will make your life miserable if you just cut off everything. So what should be done? Slowly restrict its access to unnecessary things and beings, like reducing the length of that rope, and slowly but steadily try to inquire into its nature. The other thing is, ahankara will object when you raise question about its existence. It will create n number of doubts in your mind, but don't give in to those doubts. If you give in to those doubts, the inquiry will never be successful. You have to believe, you have to go on with the inquiry, you have to understand this ego is the biggest culprit and it is my identification with everything around. Let me tell you about 2-3 verses. Let us remember the verse that we just saw. Udeti madhye. This ego is somewhere in between. It does not have its own existence. It is the conjugation, mutual superimposition of existence principle and this gross body. Replace this gross body with all vishas if you want. Only when there is identification, there in between lies this ego, ahankara. So once you start uh, reducing that those identification reduce. If you start once you start reducing fodder or oblations given to the fire, as fire diminishes, quietens, this ahankara will also start losing its strength. It will start going away. There is this story which is told in reference to Balarama and Krishna. So Balarama and Krishna, they had gone to collect sticks in forest. They both decided that now it is almost night time and it is dark. So what we will do, we will sleep here only. In the morning we will go ahead. But somebody has to stay awake, keep lookout for demons or someone who is coming or not. So Balarama said, I will stay awake for the first half, you stay awake for the second half. It was decided. Balaram, he stood awake, he stayed awake in the beginning. Then he heard some noise in some distance. So he went there and he saw there was a demon. He fought with that demon. The demon ran away. Balarama came back. The story continues. It happened throughout night. Then Balarama got tired. Then he went to sleep. And Krishna stayed awoke, keeping watch. In the morning, Balarama asked, did you encounter any such demon? Krishna said, yes, I saw that demon. But then did you not fight with him? Krishna said, no. I asked him, what do you want? He said nothing, so I stayed where I am. There are different variations of this story, but the point being, ego, ahankara is like that demon. If you start fighting with him, it will grow bigger in size, it will grow stronger in size. It will keep coming back even if you defeat him. The only way to get rid of him is reduce its strength by paying attention to that ego, ahankara. Just inquire into its true nature. Who are you? It has no answer. And if it has no answer, it is not there. It is my imagination, my superimposition. Let it go. This last part, letting it go, is the most difficult part, but once that is achieved, you will have conquered the entire world. Tanmarganam sarvajayaya margaha. Inquiry into this ahankara is the path towards victory over everything. Now, Raman Maharshi is going to explain what is the true state of being, just being, Brahmavastha. What is it? But that in detail we will see next time. Om asatoma sadgamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritangamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.